a day of stillness and of peace. Christ's vision looks through me today. His sight shows me all things forgiven and at peace, and offers the vision to the world. And I accept this vision in its name, both for myself and the world as well. What loveliness we look upon today. What holiness we see surrounding us, and it is given us to recognize its holiness in which we share. And this is a day of stillness and of peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace. This day my mind is quiet to receive the thought you offer me, and I accept what comes from you instead of what comes from myself. I do not know the way, I do not know the way to you, but you are wholly certain, wholly certain. Father, guide your Son along the quiet path to you. Father, guide your Son along the quiet path that leads to you. Let my forgiveness be complete, and let the memory of you return to me. Father, guide your Son along the quiet path that leads to you. Let my forgiveness be complete, and let the memory of you return to me, and let the memory of you return to me. This is a day of stillness and of peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace. Well, thank you all so much for joining me here today on the banks of the Poteau River, right south of Poteau, Oklahoma, on lesson 291. This is a day of stillness and of peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace. We're reading from the original, or not from the original, and this year we're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles, printed by the Foundation for Inner Peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace, Thursday, October 17th of 2024. And I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks. Christ's vision looks through me today. His sight shows me all things forgiven and at peace, and offers this same vision to the world. And I accept this vision in its name, both for myself and for the world as well. What loveliness we look upon today, what holiness we see surrounding us. And it is given us to recognize it is a holiness in which we share. It is the holiness of God Himself. This is a day of stillness and of peace. This day my mind is quiet to receive the thoughts you offer me, and I accept what comes from you, instead of from myself. I do not know the way to you, but you are wholly certain. Father, guide your Son along the quiet path that leads to you. Father, guide your son or daughter along the quiet path that leads to you. Let my forgiveness be complete, and let the memory of you return to me. Let my forgiveness be complete, and let your memory return to me. And our associated reading with this next 10 days will be, what is the real world? The real world is a symbol like the rest of what perception offers, yet it stands for what is opposite to what you made. Your world is seen through eyes of fear and brings the witnesses of terror to your mind. The real world cannot be perceived except through eyes forgiveness blesses. So they see a world where terror is impossible, and witnesses to fear cannot be found. The real world holds a counterpart for each unhappy thought reflected in your world, a sure correction for the sights of fear and sounds of battle which your world contains. The real world shows a world seen differently, through quiet eyes and with a mind at peace. Nothing but rest is there. There are no cries of pain and sorrow heard, for nothing there remains outside forgiveness, and the sights are gentle. Only happy sights and sounds can reach the mind that has forgiven itself. Catch that. Only happy sights and sounds can reach the mind that has forgiven itself. What need has such a mind for thoughts of death, attack, and murder? What can it perceive surrounding it but safety, love, and joy? What is there it would choose to be condemned? And what is there it would judge against? The world it sees arises from a mind at peace within itself. No danger lurks in anything it sees, for it is kind, and only kindness does it look upon. The real world is the symbol that the dream of sin and guilt is over, and God's Son no longer sleeps. His waking eyes perceive the sure reflection of his Father's love, the certain promise that he is redeemed. The real world signifies the end of time, for its perception makes time purposeless. The Holy Spirit has no need of time when it has served his purpose. Now he waits but that one instant more for God to take his final step, and time has disappeared, taking perception with it as it goes, and leaving but the truth to be itself. That instant is our goal, for it contains the memory of God. And as we look upon a world forgiven, it is he who calls to us and comes to take us home, reminding us of our identity, which our forgiveness has restored to us. Okay, well, let's go take a look at our text reading for today. So what is the real world? It starts off this next 10 lessons. Today's being 291. This is a day of stillness and of peace. I'd say today's a day where you just want to kind of like be quiet and still and look inside, be kind of reflective, and just see how peaceful you really are at your deepest levels that you can be aware of as you go into your silence. Do at least a few minutes in the morning and a few minutes in the evening. Let that time be whatever makes you feel happy. And then throughout the day, try for the top of every hour to tell yourself, today is a day, or this is a day of stillness and of peace. And then let that be the reality of that moment. And try to take that through the hour. Ask God what to do during that hour so that you can maintain that stillness and peace. And be sure to give God thanks. Stay in that thankful frequency all the time. Every hour of the day, be sure to find something to give God thanks for. Okay. And now we're ready for the last section in chapter 31, which will finish the text. I don't know if we'll get through it all, but let's see what we can do. Section 8, choose once again. Temptation has one lesson it would teach in all its forms, wherever it occurs. It would persuade the Holy Son of God he is a body, born in what must die, unable to escape its frailty, and bound by what it orders him to feel. It sets the limits on what he can do. Its power is the only strength he has. His grasp cannot exceed its tiny reach. Would you be this if Christ appeared to you in all his glory, asking you but this? Choose once again if you would take your place among the saviors of the world, or would remain in hell and hold your brothers there. Wow, can you imagine Jesus coming to you in all his glory? The bright lights of Jesus, his radiance, and him say to you, hey, choose once again, Will. If you would take your place among the saviors of the world. So if you have some temptation, you can say, well, I'm going to remember that. Choose once again if you would take your place among the saviors of the world, or would remain in hell and hold your brothers there. For he has come, and he is asking this. Paragraph 2. How do you make the choice? How easily is this explained? You always choose between your weakness and the strength of Christ in you. And what you choose is what you think is real. Simply by never using weakness to direct your actions, you have given it no power, and the light of Christ in you is given charge of everything you do. For you have brought your weakness unto him, and he has given you his strength instead. 3. Trials are but lessons that you failed to learn, presented once again. Isn't that a nice way to look at trials, temptations, things that are causing you a little trouble? Trials are but lessons that you failed to learn, presented once again. So where you made a faulty choice before, you now can make a better one, and thus escape all pain that what you chose before has brought to you. In every difficulty, all distress, and each perplexity, Christ calls to you and gently says, my brother, choose again. Isn't that a nice way to look at trials, that there are opportunities to make a better choice? He would not leave one source of pain unhealed, nor any image left to veil the truth. He would remove all misery from you, whom God created alter unto joy. He would not leave you comfortless, alone in dreams of hell, but would release your mind from everything that hides its face from you. His holiness is yours because he is the only power that is real in you. His strength is yours because he is the self that God created as his only Son. 4. The images you make cannot prevail against what God himself would have you be. Be never fearful of temptation then, but see it as it is, another chance to choose again, and let Christ's strength prevail in every circumstance, and every place you raised an image of yourself before. Where there was an idol, now you get to make a new choice and say, I think I'll practice forgiveness. I'll use Christ's strength. See the world the way Christ sees it. For what appears to hide the face of Christ is powerless before his majesty and disappears before his holy sight. The saviors of the world who see like him are merely those who chose his strength instead of their own weakness, seen apart from him. They will redeem the world, for they are joined in all the power of the will of God, and what they will is only what he wills. 5. Learn then the happy habit of response to all temptation to perceive yourself as weak and miserable with these words, I am as God created me. His Son can suffer nothing, and I am his Son. This is Christ's strength invited to prevail, or thus is Christ's strength invited to prevail, replacing all your weakness and the strength that comes from God and that can never fail. And thus our miracles, as natural as fear and agony appeared to be before the choice for holiness was made. For in that choice are false distinctions gone, illusory alternatives laid by, and nothing left to interfere with truth. Learn then, if this start in paragraph 5 again. Learn then the happy habit. We got to learn this happy habit. Learn then this happy habit of response to all temptation to perceive yourself as weak and miserable with these words: I am as God created me. His Son can suffer nothing, and I am His Son. Let's take a little pause right here in the middle of our reading and remember that song. We've sang it before. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. His Son can suffer nothing, and I am His Son. And I am His Son. Learn the happy habit of response to all temptation to perceive yourself as weak and miserable. With these words, I am as God created me. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. His Son can suffer nothing, and I am His Son. And I am His Son. That's a song to take with you, and I sang it a few times during this year, so hopefully you kind of let that, when temptation comes to you, you can remind yourself, I'm as God created me. His Son can suffer nothing, and I am His Son. Or if you need to put in the word daughter, do that. Whatever works for you to make it real. I am as God created me. His child can suffer nothing, and I am His child. Okay, let's go ahead and keep reading. We've got enough time to go a little further today. Paragraph 6. You are as God created you, and so is every living thing you look upon, regardless of the images you see. What you behold as sickness and as pain, as weakness and as suffering and loss, is but temptation to perceive yourself defenseless and in hell. Yield not to this, and you will see all pain in every form wherever it occurs, but disappear as mists before the sun. A miracle has come to heal God's Son, and close the door upon His dreams of weakness, opening the way to His salvation and release. Choose once again what you would have Him be, remembering that every choice you make establishes your own identity as you will see it and believe it is. 7. Deny me not the little gift I ask, when in exchange I lay before your feet the peace of God, and power to bring this peace to everyone who wanders in the world uncertain, lonely, and in constant fear. For it is given you to join with Him, and through the Christ in you unveil His eyes, and let Him look upon the Christ in Him. 8. My brothers in salvation, do not fail to hear my voice and listen to my words. I ask for nothing but your own release. There is no place for hell within a world whose loveliness can yet be so intense and so inclusive. It is but a step from there to heaven. To your tired eyes I bring a vision of a different world, so new and clean and fresh, you will forget the pain and sorrow that you saw before. Yet this, a vision in which you must share with everyone you see, for otherwise you will behold it not. To give this gift is how to make it yours. To give this gift of peace is how to make it yours. And God ordained in loving kindness that it be for you. I think we'll stop there and we'll finish that last page of the chapter tomorrow. Let's take a look at what's going on around the world before we close with our song. And I'm going to include that portion in the text where it said, if Christ appeared to you in all His glory, asking you but this, choose once again if you would take your place among the saviors of the world, or remain in hell and hold your brothers there, for He has come, and is asking this. Wow, that's what Jesus is asking us, what Christ is asking us. Let's be a Savior to our brothers and sisters. I see Him as wholly innocent through the eyes of Christ, the eyes of a forgiven world, where sin is no more. Can we do that? Can we enter into the true atonement, the atonement? Okay, let's see what's going on around the world. I got the proper name for the Feast of Booths or the Feast of Tabernacles, and it's Sukkot. Sorry about you Jewish folks. I didn't do very good on my Hebrew yesterday. I looked it up, and it's Sukkot. So the Feast of Sukkot is going on for 6 more days, I expect, for a week. And since it's Hebrew, let's think of Shalom. And such a close word to Hebrew is the Arabic word. Our brothers, our Hebrews and our Arabic brothers in Israel and Palestine are brothers. And that word is salam. So shalom and salam, peace. And then our word, another word I want to use for the Lenape Indians of northeastern United States around the state of Delaware. And that word is Achwangundowagan. I'm going to go H. I think it's A-C-H. Achwangundowagan. So Achwangundowagan. And I'm probably not doing a very good job. Probably like suck it instead of Sukkot. Anyway, I do the best I can here. Couldn't find it pronunciation online. Black Poetry Day, and I'm finding all this on Drexel University's religious calendar and on holidays and observances. Conflict Resolution Day. Well, that's Course of Miracles Day, isn't it? Forgive and Ex Day. You know, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-husband, ex-wife. You always want to practice forgiveness. Don't let there be anything that when their thought comes up that causes you discomfort. Stay like a lot of my Pentecostal brothers say, stay prayed up. Stay in a good space. Practice forgiveness. Forgive an Ex Day. 4 Prunes Day, and we'll talk about prunes here in a minute, but I guess it's based on the idea to keep yourself regular by eating 4 prunes a day. Get Smart About Credit Card Day, International Credit Union Day, Get to Know Your Customer Day, Great Shakeout Earthquake and Tsunami Preparedness Day, International Cassette Store Day, kind of like in the history books, but just like vinyl records, but you know, there's a place for them. They helped us evolve to where we're at now. International Day to Eradicate Poverty Day. And that reminds me of what Neem Karola Baba told us. He said, feed everybody and love everybody, because food's the best narcotic and love's the best medicine. Mulligan Day, second chance. So you golfers know about mulligans. Well, Course of Miracles gives us a second chance. When you think of yourself as in trial, say, oh, I get another chance to choose again and make a better choice this time. Mulligan Day. Edge Day. So an edge, I think of every choice you make is on the cutting edge of your own evolution. Make every choice count. Pasta Day, Playing Card Collectors Day, Pay Back a Friend Day, Spirit Day. Spirit Day. We are spirit. We're eternal spirits. We're not flesh, are we? We use the body, but it's not us. Spreadsheet Day, Wear Purple for Domestic Violence Day. It's Wear Purple for Domestic Violence Awareness Day, Wear Something Gaudy Day, and World Trauma Day. And I say we were going to talk about the Stanley prune plum out of Edible Landscaping. It says of the Stanley, it says, a Prunus domestica is a European self-fertile blue plum with golden flesh, a small disease-resistant tree ripening in August, very sweet eaten fresh. We spray Surround to control curculio larvae in fruits in early spring. And that's basically a clay-based organic spray. White flowers bloom later than Japanese plums, which is good for your frost hits your plums. A little later blooming's great. Besides being a fresh fruit, Stanley can be prunes too. They have a drier flesh than Japanese plums and are used for this purpose. Height 8 to 12 foot, space 8-foot circles, zones 5 through 7. So there is your Stanley prune plum. And I think, how are we looking on time? Are we looking? Okay, I'm glad we stopped our reading earlier, huh? Okay, well, let's close, and I'll throw in that portion out of our text. This is a day of stillness and of peace. Christ's vision looks through me today. His sight shows me all things forgiven and at peace, and offers the vision to the world. And I accept this vision in its name, both for myself and the world as well. What loveliness we look upon today. What holiness we see surrounding us. And it is given us to recognize its holiness. To recognize its holiness in which we share. It is the holiness of God Himself. This is a day of stillness and of peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace. This day my mind is quiet to receive the thoughts you offer me. And I accept what comes from you instead of from myself. I do not know the way to you, but you are wholly certain. Father, guide your Son along the quiet path that leads to you. Let my forgiveness be complete, and let the memory of you return to me. This is a day of stillness and of peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace. If Christ appeared to you in all His glory and asked but this, choose once again if you would take your place among the saviors of the world, or would remain in hell and hold your brothers there. For He has come and asks, and is asking this. If Christ appeared to you in all your glory and asking you but this, choose once again if you would take your place among the saviors of the world, or would you remain in hell and hold your brothers there? For He has come and is asking this of you. This is a day of stillness and of peace. Achwangundowagan.